Coincidentally, this transition occurs at the threshold of Interpol strategic alignment, marked by the introduction of the 2026 to 2030 strategy. This new roadmap is operationalized through 4 strategic goals. The first one is to be the trusted global information hub for law enforcement. The second one is to provide world-class investigative support. The third one is to be the leading voice of law enforcement worldwide. And finally, to ensure organizational excellence. Sir, this represents one of the most significant strategic realignments in organizational history. It is uniquely underpinned by the principles of decentralization as well as regional autonomy, as highlighted in our second goal. Consequently, upon the conclusion of the Interpol support program to the African Union, ISPA, Interpol intends to launch the Regional Operational Collaboration and Coordination Agreement, ROCA. This agreement will facilitate deeper organizational integration into regional economic bodies, such as SADC, whilst our mandate remains the implementation of decisions made by the chiefs of police. This strategy charges us to adopt a proactive stance, particularly regarding operational police activities. Modern crime is increasingly characterized by the convergence of diverse criminal activities into complex, non-linear enterprises. Globally, forensic science has emerged as a fundamental tool to dismantling polycriminality and linking disparate illicit acts to centralized syndicates. It provides the empirical data necessary for predictive regional threat assessments. To fully operationalize this intelligence-led approach, there is an urgent need for the proposed Sarpcco forensic laboratory. This facility would ensure the standardization of evidence required for successful cross-border prosecutions. As the scientific heart of Sarpcco and the ROCA framework, this centralized asset would provide technical backing for joint operations and serve as a training hub to decentralized forensic expertise across all member states. Supporting this laboratory, therefore, is a strategic commitment to ensuring the Southern African region remains resilient against transnational organized crime through professional, self-reliant, and scientifically fortified infrastructure. In alignment with our new strategy, between 2025 and 2026, the Regional Bureau facilitated 5 case coordination meetings addressing threats ranging from firearms to drug trafficking, and conducted 1 investigative support deployment, with a second currently being finalized. This approach lends weight to the Sarpcco chiefs of police decisions to cooperate, collaborate, and share intelligence to reduce the prevalence of criminal activity. In the same breath, allow me, sir, to reiterate our commitment to supporting regional, interregional, and Interpol-led operations within Sarpcco. Tanzania, alongside 4 other nations, which is Seychelles, Mauritius, Madagascar, and the DRC, subscribes to both Sarpcco and EAPCO, the East African Community. We should view this dual membership not as an impediment, but as an opportunity to draw best practices from both regions to strengthen our collective resolve. Operations such as Usalama and the aptly named Wakani remain the cornerstone of our fight against transnational organized crime. However, they are increasingly challenged by the exigencies of clandestine drug synthesis and financial crime, amongst other criminal actors. This landscape requires spontaneous, need-based operations to disrupt criminal elements, particularly the threats posed by Mexican cartels working in tandem with Nigerian confraternities. Ladies and gentlemen, our call for enhanced operational efficacy is not intended to diminish established regional activities like training and workshops, The honing of skills remains the foundation of effective policing. I must submit, however, that we often struggle to secure volunteer member countries to host activities on the regional action plan. Fortuitously, Tanzania and Malawi are among the very few who are consistently available to host both their chosen activities and those we must occasionally request them in times of urgency. For this, we are deeply grateful. Police training is becoming increasingly vital in the face of rapid digitalization, a phenomenon that is changing the foundations of how we define and combat crime. I am pleased to note that Tanzania is amongst the first member states to adopt our new Nexus platform. Its architecture is artificial intelligence ready, providing vast opportunities for sophisticated crime analysis and intelligence generation. Regarding crime analysis, I commend both Tanzania and Malawi for enhancing their internal security through specialized training facilitated by the ENACT project. Furthermore, Tanzania continues to innovate through multifaceted intelligence collection via online patrol and exemplary exercise. To strengthen our collective security, I urge you, sir, to consider transitioning into regional resource hubs by sharing this analytical expertise with the broader Sarpcco community, perhaps by leveraging the proposed NCB twinning program. In conclusion, I wish to express my sincere appreciation for Tanzania's consistency in hosting regional activities and seconding highly skilled officials to the Regional Bureau. This directly supports the fourth goal of our new strategy, as our mission is greatly bolstered by the strategic secondment of specialized officers who provide the expertise necessary for organizational excellence. Whilst border insecurity and fragmented efforts have occasionally left our region vulnerable, the effective utilization of Interpol's policing capabilities will ensure a resilient and unified front against evolving threats. I extend my deepest gratitude to the Sarpcco chairperson for this gracious visit, timed so meaningfully during the week Tanzania celebrates Union Day, a fitting metaphor for the unity we strive for within Sarpcco. We thank our hosts for their unwavering hospitality and exemplary commitment to our shared ideals. I take this opportunity to wish the people of Tanzania a very happy Union Day in advance. Asanteni sana, zikomo kwambiri, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Selo Morane. Thank you so much for the remarks. Sarpcco chairperson, sir, I request that may I call now Ms. Tanyan Gumed, Senior Officer Police, Sarpcco, to give her remarks.
Sarpcco Chairperson and Inspector General of Malawi Police Service, Mr. Richard C.C. Luhanga, Inspector General of Tanzania Police Force, Chief of Police, Afande Kamilas Wambura, Head of Interpol Regional Bureau Harare, Mr. Silo Mirane, represented here by Mr. Piwa Yinkosi Ntengetwa. I'm quite proud to be able to pronounce that difficult name. Commissioner Ramadani Pingai, the Director of CID, senior officers from the Tanzania Police Force, and the delegation from Malawi Police Service accompanying the chairperson, distinguished colleagues from SADC Secretariat, Interpol Regional Bureau Harare, as well as Tanzania, Ladies and gentlemen, habari. I didn't hear that. Habari. Okay, thank you very much. It is indeed a great honor for me to stand before you this morning, particularly you, Afande Wambura, and the chairperson of Sarpcco. Tanzania is the cradle of African independence and indeed the founding member of the Sovereign African Regional Development Community, envisaged by the late President Julius Kambarage Nyerere. And I think I'm quite proud that today we are standing here in this facility, you know, one of the best facilities in Tanzania, which is really named after the founding member as well. So it is really befitting that we meet here with a deep sense of belonging and a clear sense of purpose. And allow me to take this opportunity to thank the IGP, Chief of Tanzania Police Force, Afande Kamilas Wambura, for the courtesies really that has been extended to us. The challenge is what we told you last year. We said if you keep doing this, we will keep coming back. And indeed, you keep taking care of us and very good care of us. And now we are back again. Very soon we might come back again. That's how much we are grateful for the courtesies and the hospitalities that we receive every time we come to Tanzania. The people are also very warm, even the colleagues within this particular hall, but also the people outside, they are quite warm, and it's something that we truly appreciate, and it makes us see why the likes of the late president became the founding member of what we call SADC today. Distinguished chairperson and chief of police and dear colleagues, transnational organized crime, as has already been mentioned, remains a major threat to the development of our region. And the region has very recently really witnessed a significant increase of this very same threat, as well as the emerging crimes that has a devastating impact to our economy, but also to the social development of our own people in the region. And this requires concerted effort as a region to be able to effectively address this threat. Allow me to highlight that as the police Sarpcco sector as a whole, the sector as a whole, not just the SADC Secretariat. Now, when we talk of the sector, we're referring to the police chiefs themselves. What is our mandate at the bigger scale? The mandate of the Sarpcco sector is to enhance frameworks to address transnational organized crime in the SADC region. This also involves the implementation of the regional strategies and protocols aimed at addressing transnational organized crime. And how do we have to execute this? We execute this mandate guided by the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2020-2030, which I hope and believe that you have read it, because this is the guiding document of where the region is supposed to go. All the sectors are supposed to be guided by that specific document, including the chiefs of police and the other sectors outside the organ. This specific strategy, ladies and gentlemen, was founded on the pillar, peace and security. It means without peace and security, we can never achieve what the RISDIP 2020-2030 inspires. Now, it is our responsibility to ensure that we effectively address transnational organized crime, which will then lead us to being successful in the implementation of the strategic objective that our chiefs of police are supposed to achieve. Within the law enforcement domain, this strategy has found concrete expression through the enhancement of the SADC integrated strategy to prevent and combat transnational organized crime. At the member states level, the role of our chiefs, therefore, is to enhance the implementation by domesticating this regional instrument into national context and aligning policies, policing activities in the existing protocols, and that should be done at our national level. Chairperson and IGP and dear colleagues, although the midterm review of the RISDIP 2020-2030 highlighted modest progress, it remains incumbent upon the police as a sector to scale up delivery on critical outputs. As your secretariat, we have also come to recognize that the single greatest obstacle to achieving key milestones has been the inconsistent implementation of the regional strategy to prevent transnational organized crime. And I will highlight how. As of today, you may be aware that most member states have not yet established their national organized crime task forces. We commend the countries that are currently taking steps in this direction. This is a welcome development which will lead the chiefs into succeeding with the implementation of the RISDIP. But countering transnational organized crime across our region demands all hands on deck. Half measures will not suffice against the daring transnational threats that we see today. And more importantly, there is an urgent need for member states to judiciously carry out their national organized crime threat assessments, what we refer to as the NOCTAs. Without these national threat assessments, our region will not be able to conduct the regional threat assessment. It will remain incomplete, and our collective response risks being reactive. Having said this, allow me to raise an operational concern that bears directly to our own effectiveness. As the SADC Secretariat, together with the Interpol Regional Bureau Harare, we wish to extend our sincere thanks indeed to the United Republic of Tanzania and all member states for their support and participation in regional activities. Chairperson, I must highlight that Tanzania is, if not the only country that when you send a request on something that was not even in the calendar, when you send a request to say, Chief of Police, we want to come to Tanzania and conduct this kind of meeting with all the member states, you get a response immediately. Whereas with other member states, you delay getting response, leading to you having to change to the next member states. So it is in this regard, Chair, that we appreciate the Republic of Tanzania. We fully acknowledge that much is happening indeed at national level. However, the Secretariat is simply not receiving necessary reports. And the lack of timely, consistent information creates implementation bottlenecks. More critically, it weakens the police sector, Sarpcco's ability to feed forward accurate analysis and recommendations to their higher decision-making structures within our region, which includes the MCO, Council, as well as Summit. For further clarity, the SADC Secretariat remains fully available to engage with respective technical organs to ventilate these issues in greater depth. And we believe we're going to do that very soon under your leadership, Chairperson, in Malawi. On the broader continental fronts, significant progress is being made regarding the African Union's flagship agenda, silencing the guns. The High Representative for Silencing the Guns in Africa, Dr. Mohamed Chambers, together with his delegation from the African Union, they visited the SADC Secretariat in March this year. And his visit underscored the SADC's leading role among Africa's regional economic communities. Importantly, it acknowledged and praised the meticulous approach of the chiefs of police in developing the SADC chapter on silencing the guns, which was actually approved in 2025, right here in Tanzania. And we already started implementing that by hosting 2 activities that are aligned to that specific chapter. This is a recognition we should all take pride in, particularly you as the chiefs of police, but also a responsibility we must now also deepen. Finally, distinguished chairperson and IGP, Chief of Police, and dear colleagues, the biggest challenge that we are facing over the past years has been that of resources. SADC Secretariat has grappled with significant financial constraints in spearheading the implementation of decisions taken by our chiefs of police as well as the MCO. This is not a complaint though. It is rather a reality that we must all confront together. It is in this context that I make a humble appeal that member states should at least volunteer to host initiatives that are in the regional action plan that is actually developed and approved by our chiefs, particularly various workshops and training activities as highlighted by Mr. Pure Yinkosi in his speech representing the head of bureau. Such in-kind contributions are not only helpful, but essential in sustaining our momentum as the region. With these remarks, Chief of Police of Tanzania and the distinguished delegates, let me appreciate the chairperson who chose to come to the Republic of Tanzania, not just to review the implementation of the decisions, but also to learn what is Tanzania doing in order for us to have a successful meeting that our chairperson is going to host in Malawi. I believe that on this one, he's going to make a special invitation to you, Chief of Police. He's certainly going to do that himself. We also reaffirm the commitment that we do have ourselves as the SADC Secretariat, together with Interpol Regional Bureau Harare, in ensuring that we serve the interest of the SADC Chiefs of Police in our region in order to help the region achieve its aspirations of eradicating the scourge of transnational organized crime. And this can only be realized, however, if we support one another, and together we can accomplish more. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Tanyan Gumed, for that remarks. Sir, before we proceed, may I correct and make the records clear that I was announcing the one who was giving the remarks as the head of Interpol Regional Bureau Harare, Selo Morani, but the remarks was given by the regional specialized officer, Mr. Pure Nkosi. Thank you. Sir, it's time now to request you as the chair of the Sarpcco to give your keynote address and declare officially our meeting opened. You are welcome, sir.
Let me try my little Swahili. Habari. I think I'm okay there now. Yeah. Maybe before I make my speech, let me say I'm really overwhelmed to be here in Tanzania, especially in Dar es Salaam, because I have a connection to this country. I come from Malawi, the northern part of Malawi, and that's where the vast border with Tanzania is. So most of the time we spend our time either in Kyela. If we don't go to Kyela, then we try and champion and go as far as Mbeya. So Mbeya is the popular town that we know. But of late, also, Tunduma has become another key town where there is a lot of confluence between the Malawians and Tanzanians. And the Inspector General and Police Chief, let me state that we have a very good relationship with your police officers, either from Mbeya or those coming from Tunduma side or those coming from Kyela. I think I know there are 4 stations there that we interact with on a daily basis. And we have managed to establish a proper relationship, and a relationship that is bearing a lot of fruits. I know we meet almost every year, either in Malawi or in Mbeya, depending which side is supposed to sponsor at that time. And the discussions have always been fruitful. So let me thank you for that cooperation, and let me thank you for the assistance that we are rendering to each other as 2 nations, Tanzania and Malawi. But also, let me applaud the relationship that exists between the 2 countries, both Malawi and Tanzania, and we have lived side by side for many years without any problems and challenges, and we have made our way quite well. Thanks for hosting the many Malawians here in Dar es Salaam. I know the popular Kariakoo. If I went to Kariakoo, I'm likely to find over 2,000 Malawians moving around in that area. But let me thank you for that welcoming spirit and the level of security that makes Malawians not to be afraid to come here and do their business. Lastly, but the most important thing that I needed to mention is the hospitality that we have received from the Tanzanian government, of course, the Tanzanian police force. Let me report here that since we arrived yesterday, we have seen the highest levels of hospitality. You have a very good team that is very friendly and hosting us very well. And we are feeling at home. I always say, I should have said, I wish I said we'll stay for another 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the itinerary won't allow, but we're at home. So the Inspector General of Tanzania Police Force and the Police Chief, Mr. Kamilos Wambula, senior officers from Sarpcco and SADC Secretariat, Ms. Kumede, the most interesting name, Mr. P.Y. Inkosi. Let me just say it like that. Representing the head of the Bureau, Zimbabwe. I also recognize the Commissioner, Ramadan Kingai, Director of CID Tanzania, and the Director of CID from Malawi, Mr. Gerald Chiwanda, Commissioner Mlezo, and all the delegates from Malawi Police Service, and all the senior police officers from the Tanzanian Police Service, or esteemed delegates, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. It is a tremendous honor and distinct privilege to be here in this beautiful city of Dar es Salaam. I'm here on a working visit of the Sarpcco chair so that I can engage with you on a number of issues. Of course, we will be engaging on the issues of Sarpcco, just looking at the progress that Tanzania is making and we're making as a region. But at the very same time, Malawi, we have just taken over the chairmanship of Sarpcco from you, sir, and this is our learning experience. The saying goes to say, you have to work with those who have already done it before if you have to do better. So our coming is to shake shoulders with you, learn from your experiences, and build on those experiences so that we can give you the best AGM in Malawi. Let me congratulate you for successfully managing the chairmanship of Sarpcco and working very hard until you handed over to Malawi, who are now the chair of this. You did quite well, sir, according to the reports I got. And me, the chairman, will build on what you have already built so that we can do better as we move forward. Let me convey my heartfelt appreciation to the government and people of the Republic of Tanzania, and most especially the Tanzanian police force for the extraordinary warmth and generous hospitality extended to me and my entire delegation. I wish to particularly acknowledge your leadership, the Inspector General, Mr. Wambula, for treating this visit with the seriousness it deserves. Amidst the countless responsibility that this office and the entire force must manage each day, the reception we have received has truly made us feel at home and far exceeds our expectations. Distinguished colleagues, as we are all aware, the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2020 to 2030 remains our guiding beacon. Yet, as we proceed through the second phase of its implementation, we must confront an uncomfortable reality, one that was highlighted during the SADC Council of Ministers meeting in March 2026. Our collective progress to date has not matched the scale of urgency that the moment demands. A troubling number of critical targets remain unmet. Let us never forget that regional policing is not just a supporting function of this strategy. It is foundational. Peace and security are the very pillars upon which our entire regional development agenda rests. This is not an occasion for finger-pointing, but rather a sermon for accelerated, accountable, and decisive action. The weight of this course correction falls squarely upon our shoulders as chiefs of police. The most effective route to acceleration lies in the development and execution of robust national strategies to combat transnational organized crime. To date, only 4 members. Only 4 members have successfully developed their own national draft strategy in line with the regional strategy on TOC. I think we are 16 members, so we are talking of 4 members. However, it is pleasing to note that Tanzania demonstrated considerable foresight by developing its own strategy to combat transnational organized crime ahead of the regional strategy, a commendable achievement that reflects the country's proactive and exemplary leadership. Suffice to say that Tanzania continues to play an indispensable role in the region's collective efforts against transnational organized crime, including human trafficking, cybercrime, stock theft, drug trafficking, and terrorism. Although the SADC region remains comparatively peaceful and stable, the evolving and increasing increasingly complex nature of these crimes presents persistent challenges that demand sustained, coordinated responses. These challenges do not stem from any lack of political will or commitment, but rather from the growing sophistication of transnational criminal networks in our region. Colleagues, over recent years, our region has been far from idle. We have constructed formidable frameworks to respond to transnational organized crime, including the regional integrated strategy to prevent and combat transnational organized crime, the Sarpcco Protocol on firearms, and the Protocol against trafficking in persons, and the transnational organized crime data collection tool for Southern Africa. These instruments embody our collective intelligence and unwavering determination. Yet frameworks are only as powerful as the effectiveness with which we implement them. The principal challenge before us is not a shortage of collaborative instruments, but a shortfall in compliance with our own decisions. Member states remain inconsistent in reporting and executing what we have collectively agreed upon. Good examples are one, that the police chiefs in Namibia approved the tool for reporting of organized crime. And that the same chiefs also, here in Dar es Salaam, urged member states to utilize this tool. Despite this, the region continues to lack comprehensive, reliable TOC statistical data on crime because implementations remains limited. So we did our own tool. We urged members to use it, and up to now we can't get the data because we're not using it adequately. This compromises our ability to report effectively to the higher structure of SADC. I therefore kindly encourage Tanzania and the rest of the member states to prioritize and actively utilize the TOCSA reporting tool, as it is essential for improving the accuracy, consistency, and availability of regional data on transnational organized crime. Colleagues, before I turn to our remaining shared challenges, it is only fitting that we underscore our profound gratitude for what Tanzania has accomplished. Allow me to commend the Tanzanian police force and you, the Inspector General, sir, for the, amongst others, you have achieved quite a lot. Tanzania Police Force has successfully hosted the Chiefs of Police meeting in June 2025, which is one of the reasons I chose to visit Tanzania to learn the best practices, as I will be hosting you in June in Lilongwe, Malawi. And as lately pointed out by Mrs. Kumede, let me put up a special invitation to you, Inspector General and the Police Chief of Tanzania. Please do come. And come as many as you can. You can drive, you don't have to fly. Malawi is just across. We'll be very happy to host you. At least we need to see our neighbors shoulder to shoulders with us. But also Tanzania, you have been consistent and active in hosting of the participation in Sarpcco programs, joint operations, training initiatives, and meetings. You also successfully hosted the Sarpcco Games in September 2022, where the Tanzanian police force performed admirably, and we also recognize you for your contingent continued support for regional sporting initiatives which promote cohesion and solidarity among our police officers. I recall those games, they were quite massive, and we put up a very good show in the Sarpcco games. I think they were the last ones that we conducted, as we were still looking for a nation to host the other ones. Malawians really were happy to come and participate in those games. I think we came in large numbers because we could easily drive across to Tanzania. But we also commend you for implementing key instruments, amongst them the SADC protocols, as well as progress towards signing and implementing the protocol on firearms. And you have also seconded staff to Interpol Regional Bureau in Harare. We say thank you for that. Tanzania is also doing exceptionally well in regional cooperation. Your dedication is yielding tangible results. However, true leadership is never complete. In this regard, I encourage the United Republic of Tanzania to consider ratifying the SADC protocol on trafficking in persons as urged by the Decision 5, subsection 2 of the Chiefs of Police meeting, which was held in June 2025 here in Dar es Salaam. By taking this final and decisive step, you do not only perfect your own exemplary record, but also provide a powerful moral and legal impetus for other member states to follow suit, closing a critical gap in our regional responses to this heinous crime. On the same, I also wish to encourage Tanzania to actively participate in data submission through the upgraded trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants, TIPSOM data collection system, endorsed at the June 2024 Chiefs of Police meeting in Lusaka, Zambia, to strengthen evidence-based decision-making at regional and international level. Colleagues, in recognition of the significant and evolving challenges confronting our region, I wish to propose that beyond the statutory meeting, the Chief of Police should have an annual conference on transnational organized crime. This forum would allow us, as police chiefs across the region, to engage in robust, substantive, high-level discussion on across the region to engage in robust and substantive high-level discussion on the strategies to prevent and combat crime and reinforce our collective commitment to regional unity and coordinated action. On this one, what you may wish to note, IG, is it is being recognized that probably the police chiefs were not talking to each other quite often. I know the director of CIDs and others, through the technical organs, they're able to go in depth of the discussion. And normally they'll just bring the agenda to us, which normally we'll look at when we have our police chiefs meetings. But probably these conferences would allow us to have an in-depth discussion and provide a proper guidance to our teams in terms of how we need to engage in dealing with transnational organized crimes. It remains a duty of maybe the Secretariat to find the best way how we can engage that one, or the police chiefs to agree on how do we handle that type of engagement so that we talk to each other very often, other than just to wait for the time we have a police chiefs meeting. So there is a variable precedence already which exists within our region architecture, where the heads of the anti-corruption agencies convene annually ahead of their statutory meeting to deliberate on strategies and strengthen their collective responses to corruption and crime, a best practice from which the chiefs of police would greatly benefit. I therefore call upon the SADC Secretariat to place this proposal on the agenda of the forthcoming Chiefs of Police meeting in Lilongwe and to initiate the necessary processes to finalize the modalities for its operationalization. As the agency of the transnational organized crime threat makes this not only desirable but also necessary. It is my sincere belief that Tanzania will support this idea, and we can have an in-depth discussion on it and to see how we can perfect it and make it a better proposal so that maybe it can be adopted in the meeting in the wrong way. Finally, distinguished colleagues, I must raise a matter of serious concern. Despite the success and momentum generated by the United Republic of Tanzania, exemplary hosting of 2022 Sarpcco Games, no member state has yet come forward to host the 12th edition in 2026. The Sarpcco Games are a vital instrument for regional integration, building the trust, professional bonds, and personal relationships that enable seamless cross-border police cooperation and empower us to pursue transnational crime as a united force. The absence of a host is therefore not a trivial logistical matter, but a strategic deficit that threatens the very fabric of our regional solidarity. I make an urgent and a passionate appeal to all chiefs of police across the region. Let no nation wait for another, and let us not allow economic constraints to silence the spirit of our cooperation. The games must go on, for our unity depends on it. Equally important is the need for sustained financial contribution to our shared programs, including the Sarpcco Fund and the Center of Excellence. In conclusion, Inspector General, the era of passive consensus is over. Crime transcends every border on our regional map. In today's interconnected world, crime no longer respects our national borders. It is therefore imperative that we continue to strengthen the intelligence sharing, enhance joint operations, build institutional capacities, and strengthen our policing strategies. Our collective success will depend on sustained cooperation, mutual trust, and a shared commitment to ensuring that peace and security across our region. Let us leave this engagement with a renewed pledge to report with integrity, to implement with vigor, and to support one another without reservation. As I conclude again, Inspector General, let me once again extend my sincere gratitude to you and the entire Tanzania Police Force for your partnership, your leading example, and your unwavering hospitality. Together, with renewed determination, we will secure peace and security in our region. Asante sana. Thank you.
Na mtazamaji wa Usalama TV, basi kama ambavyo tumetoka kumsikia mwenyekiti wa Sarpcco ambaye pia ni IGP wa Malawi Richard Chakupaleza Luhanga akiwa amemaliza hapo kuongea na hadhira iliyopo kwenye ukumbi huu wa Mwalimu Julius Nyerere JNICC, ambapo katika hotuba yake basi ameshukuru sana kwa mapokezi mazuri ambayo yeye pamoja na ujumbe wake wote alioambatana nao wamepatiwa na mwenyeji wao ambaye ni mkuu wa jeshi la polisi Tanzania IGP Camillus Wambura. Lakini vile vile ameshukuru kwa mwaliko wa kuja hapa Tanzania kwa ajili ya kupata uzoefu wa namna ambavyo Tanzania ilifanikiwa sana kuratibu majukumu ya uwenyekiti wa Sarpcco na kuratibu pia mkutano wa mwaka wa wakuu wa shirikisho hilo ambao ulifanyika mwezi Juni mwaka 2024 hapa nchini Tanzania chini ya mwenyekiti wa wakati huo wa Sarpcco ambaye alikuwa ni mkuu wa jeshi la polisi Tanzania IGP Camillus Wambura. Mwenyekiti Luhaga pia ameshukuru na kupongeza uhusiano mzuri uliopo na unaoendelea kuimarika siku hadi siku kati ya nchi ya Malawi na Tanzania, hususan katika masuala mazima ya kuimarisha usalama wa raia na mali zao, lakini pia usalama wa nchi hizo na hususan pia akapongeza ushirikiano unaoendelea kufanyika kwa mikutano ya ujirani mwema ambayo inaendelea kufanyika katika ngazi ya mikoa ile iliyopo kule mipakani pamoja na wilaya. Lakini pia mwenyekiti huyo amepongeza jinsi ambavyo Tanzania inaendelea kutekeleza maazimio ya Sarpcco kwa kiwango kikubwa, hususan katika kuwa mwenyeji wa matukio au mikutano ya kikanda ya Sarpcco. Tanzania imekuwa ikifanya vizuri sana. Lakini mwenyekiti huyu pia katika hotuba yake amepongeza amepongeza sana jeshi la polisi kwa namna ambavyo linaendelea kuimarisha usalama wa nchi yetu ya Tanzania ambao hadi sasa hali ya usalama ni shwari. Kadhalika ameomba Tanzania kutekeleza mikakati ya Sarpcco ambayo ilikubaliwa kwa pamoja kwamba Tanzania iendelee kuitekeleza, lakini pia iendelee kuridhia itifaki za kikanda ambazo bado haijaziridhia. Hayo ni kwa uchache tu katika yale ambayo ameyaongea mwenyekiti huyu wa shirikisho hili la wakuu wa jeshi la polisi kwa nchi za kusini mwa Afrika ya Sarpcco, akiwa pia ndiye IGP wa polisi kule nchini Malawi. Kwa namna hiyo basi, hapa sasa hivi msemaji wa jeshi la polisi nchini, naibu kamishina wa polisi David Msime, akiwa anaendelea kutimisha hapo tiba hiyo ya ufunguzi, ambapo baada ya hotuba hiyo rasmi basi kinachofuata hapo ni upigaji wa picha za makundi kwa lengo la kutunza kumbukumbu ya tukio hili. Kumbuka kwamba matukio haya yanafanyika mara kwa mara, lakini huwa hayajirudi. Tukio likipita limepita, basi na njia nzuri ya kutunza kumbukumbu ya matukio kama haya huwa ni picha za pamoja. Basi tuendelee kuangalia hapo namna ambavyo wamejipanga kwenda kupiga picha katika makundi haya katika eneo hilo ambalo limeandaliwa. Basi na baada ya upigaji huu wa picha, bila shaka ratiba ya mkutano huo itaendelea. Nasi Usalama TV basi tutaendelea kukupa update mbalimbali za mkutano huu utakavyokuwa ukiendelea katika pia mitandao yetu mingine ya kijamii ikiwepo Instagram ambapo unatupata kwa Polisi Tanzania, lakini pia mitandao X kule pia utatupata kwa Tanco, lakini na hapa unatupata kwa Usalama TV hapa YouTube, ambapo pia kwenye Facebook utatupata kwa Polisi Tanzania. Tunaomba uendelee kutufuatilia basi hapo wakiwa wanatoka kwenda kupiga picha, na picha zenyewe ndio hizo zikipigwa hapo, ikiwa hiyo ni picha ya kwanza picha ya kumbukumbu ikipigwa hapo kwa lengo la kutunza kumbukumbu. Ni jambo jema sana. Ikumbukwe tu mkutano huu ni sehemu ya yale ambayo mwenyekiti huyu wa shirikisho hili ambayo anatakiwa kuyatekeleza kwenye ziara yake hii ya kikazi hapa nchini Tanzania, ikiwa ni pamoja na kufanya huu mkutano, lakini katika mkutano huu basi kunazo ajenda mbalimbali watakazojadili, ikiwemo kupitia maazimio na kujadili utekelezaji wa maazimio ambayo yalipangwa na yalikubaliwa kutekelezwa kwenye ule mkutano mkuu uliofanyika mwezi Juni mwaka 2025 hapa nchini Tanzania. Tanzania ikiwa ni mwenyeji. Namna hiyo basi picha hizo zinaendelea kupigwa kama ambavyo tunaweza kuona hapo kwa makundi mbalimbali. Na mtazamaji, ziara hii basi baada ya mkutano huu ataendelea, mwenyekiti ataendelea na ziara yake hapa nchini siku hii ya leo, lakini pia na siku ya kesho ataendelea kuwepo nchini kwa ziara hiyo ya kikazi, akiwa anaendelea kutembelea nchi wanachama wa shirikisho lile la wakuu wa majeshi ya polisi kwa nchi za kusini mwa Afrika, yani Sarpcco. Kumbuke na Tanzania ni mwenyeji, lakini pia ni mwenyeji wa ziara hii, na pia tukumbuke kwamba Tanzania ilikuwa ni mwenyekiti wa shirikisho hili ambayo ilikabidhi mwenyekiti huo mwezi Juni mwaka 2025, ambayo ilikabidhiwa kwa IGP wa Malawi, ambaye sasa hapa mnamuona IGP huyu akiwa ndiye mwenyekiti wa shirikisho hilo na akiwa amekuja hapa kwa ziara. Makamishina hao wa jeshi la polisi basi na wale wajumbe wa kamati tendaji za shirikisho hilo kwa hapa Tanzania ndio wametoka kupiga picha, na sasa hao tunaowaona hapo wanaenda kupiga picha nao ni wajumbe ama ni wale wageni walioambatana pamoja na mwenyekiti wa Sarpcco kutoka nchini Malawi. Hao ni maafisa mbalimbali ambao wameambatana naye, wamekuja na wenyewe hapo sasa wakipiga picha namna hiyo kwa ajili ya kutunza kumbukumbu. Ni jambo jema sana. Mtazamaji, kumbuka tu kwamba Usalama TV ni channel ya mtandaoni ambayo inapatikana YouTube, na hii ni channel ya Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania ambayo inakuletea mambo mbalimbali ya uhusu Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania, kukiwemo vipindi mbalimbali lakini pia matangazo ya moja kwa moja kama namna hii ambavyo mkutano huu unavyoendelea ambapo umekuwa ukirushwa, lakini pia na mkutano na matukio mengine mbalimbali ambayo yanakuwa kirushwa na Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania. Na picha hiyo naona ni picha ya pamoja ambapo wameungana wote kwa pamoja. Hapo ni wajumbe wale wa Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania, lakini na wajumbe kutoka Malawi, wajumbe ambao wameambatana na mwenyekiti wake, wote kwa pamoja wanaungana hapo kupata picha ya pamoja. Zoezi la picha hilo linaendelea. Tuendelee kuangalia tukiwa tunaelekea ukingoni kabisa mwa matangazo yetu haya ya moja kwa moja kutoka hapa katika ukumbi wa JNICC jijini Dar es Salaam, ikiwa ni matangazo ya moja kwa moja ya ziara ya mwenyekiti wa Sarpcco ambaye pia ni IGP wa nchi ya Malawi, Richard Chakupaleza Luhanga, ambaye amekuja hapa nchini Tanzania kwa ziara ya kikazi, ikiwa ni utekelezaji wa majukumu yake yeye akiwa kama mwenyekiti. Na majukumu hayo basi pia wanatekeleza kila mwenyekiti anayekuwa anaingia kwa muda wake huwa kwa kipindi hiko cha mwaka mmoja ambacho anakuwa yeye ni mwenyekiti wa shirikisho hilo. Basi anakuwa pia anatekeleza jukumu hilo la kutembelea kwenye hizo nchi wanachama, kuona namna gani wanavyotekeleza majukumu yao, namna gani wanavyotekeleza yale maazimio, lakini namna gani wanavyoendelea kuboresha ushirikiano wa kiutendaji.
Na mtazamaji wa Usalama TV, basi kama unavyoweza kuona tayari mkutano huu umeshafunguliwa rasmi hapa katika ukumbi wa mikutano wa JNICC. Na kufunguliwa rasmi huku kwa mkutano huu kunatoa nafasi kwa ajenda zilizoandaliwa kuweza kujadiliwa. Kumbuka tu kwamba mkutano huu ni miongoni mwa yale ambayo mwenyekiti wa Sarpcco anakuja kuyafanya hapa nchini katika ziara yake hii ya kikazi. Na kumbuka tu kwamba kwenye mkutano huu miongoni mwa mambo yatakuwa jadiliwa ni utekelezaji wa maazimio yaliyokubaliwa katika mkutano mkuu uliofanyika mwaka 2025 mwezi Juni hapa katika ukumbi huu wa JNICC nchini Tanzania. Wakati huo mkuu wa Jeshi la Polisi Tanzania IGP Camillus Wambura alikuwa ndiye mwenyekiti na akakabidhi mwenyekiti kwa IGP wa Malawi, ambaye sasa leo amekuja akiwa ndiye mwenyekiti wa Sarpcco kufanya ziara hapa nchini Tanzania, ikiwa ni miongoni mwa